All right, we got all our wire harness out. We got everything separated from the core support and the inner fender structure on our vehicle. Now it's time to start cutting it out, taking the old out so we can put the new in.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So the main part of the impact was in this area right here. You can see that it's crushed in. And we already know that we're going to have to replace this part of the front frame section, you might call it, the unibody frame section structure. And as I'm looking down here, I can see that there's a gap right here. And we don't want to cut it off right there. What we want to do is we want to cut it off approximately 2 inches toward the front, because we're going to have to splice all this and slide it together like a jigsaw puzzle to make it fit. But before we take that off, we're going to take this off into sections, and we're going to go ahead and start right here with these spot welds. We're going to come down all the way down here with our front apron, and then we'll go ahead and cut this out across this line right here, and that will remove this separate from it. Then we'll come across here and start finding all of the areas where there's a spot weld around the frame. We're going to call this our frame. This is still a unibody, but that is a frame structure. And even inside here, you can see that there is spot welds designed to hold everything together, even behind the core support. So we got to take all those spot welds off. And then when we come over to this area right here, we're going to be very careful in removing this, because we don't want to fuck up our top inner fender structure on this area here, and all we want to do is remove the core support itself and leave all this frame structure intact. Alright, if you notice I have my earphones on, that means it's going to get a little bit loud in here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to start out with the air chisel, and we're going to start out with a spot weld buster. Let me show you what that looks like. Some people call these air hammers, some people call them air chisels. So either way, that's what it is. And if you look right here, you can see the tip that I'm using. It basically looks like the end of a carpenter's hammer, something you would use to pull a nail out with. It's got a wedge type end on it. It's concaved to a V on each side. And what this is used for cutting off and busting the spot welds. So we're going to go ahead and attempt to use this tool before we start drilling with drill bits. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it works. We're going to concentrate in this area because, once again, we want to remove everything from here up. So we're going to get up under the metal and try to bust those spot welds off. Be careful doing it. So now that we got this area done, we're going to go ahead and take our pry bar just to see where we're at. We're going to start prying this up, only to remove the piece that we want. I see there's still a little catch right here. And it's not seeming to come off easy. And I also see a couple spot welds in this area right here. So what we got to do with those, because we can't get the edge, we'll have to rely on our drill and drill them out. So to get a better look at it, this is what we're looking at right here. If you see that dot I just made, and here's another one right there. And I believe that's all. What the deal is this piece here, you can see the different layers of steel that we're working with is up under this piece. So we got to drill that off, because what'll happen is the air chisel won't work. And then while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and drill these out as well. This is our core support that we want to remove from our inner fender. Here's another one. And we'll get all those at the same time, because we want to keep this piece right here. If you come around here, we got to keep this piece here. We're not going to tear this off. And if you can do it properly, you want to go ahead and just weld the first layer. You know, don't try to, you don't have to go through every. As you notice, stand back just a little bit there, Dylan. You can see that I'm moving my drill around to get that off of there. I also noticed that this piece is still stuck on there, and in that case what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my cutting wheel we'll go ahead and cut that off. And I believe that's all the spot welds. So we'll go ahead and take our, very lightly, we don't want to ruin this edge. We're going to go ahead and try to remove that off of there. It seems like there's a spot weld in this area. There sure is right there. Look at that. And you see the situation you have? It all leads back. There's one right there. It all leads back to paying attention and concentrating on what the fuck is going on, because that's what it's all about. Instead of getting in a fucking hurry. And drill bits falling out. And not staying in your fucking drill. Just like that. So, what we're doing, we're going around the car, and we're using two tools to do that with. It's a jigsaw puzzle game, because we have this one that has to be drilled out, but then on the other hand, these two don't have to, because that's part of this piece that we're removing. Is that making sense? It's a little bit complicated. It's a complication that takes time and takes patience. Because then, since we're going to remove these two pieces, I went ahead and drilled this one out on this side, because this is just one piece, and the same goes here. What I'm trying to do is get it off the quick way, and I don't care if I ruin this, because it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do, I'll go through and I'll repeat the process that I've just showed you throughout the whole front end of the car that I'm going to remove, and get all that off, all the way down to this frame structure. Once I get to that frame structure, then we'll measure that out, where we're going to cut it off. We'll cut that off, and then it's time to move over here, and we're going to take this whole section out in one slew and put it on there. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So let me get all this removed. You basically saw the situation we have. We'll be back. It's a fucking mess. Alright, turn it off. We got shit to do here, bud. Okay, my friend Pete, shows you how to do stuff at home, but also I'm showing you how to do stuff if you have the tools to do it with. Now, what I'm using, I do on a plasma cutter, and I rely on my plasma cutter to do a lot of work. So, now that I went through the procedure to show you how to do it, with the drills, the air chisels, and the pry bars, my friend Pete started doing it so we can get her done, because that's basically what it's about here. And what I've done is I've taken my plasma cutter, and I went ahead and cut all the spot welds out with my plasma cutter. And now I'll take my pry bar, wherever the fuck it's at, and we're going to try to pop that loose from that frame rail. See if we got this. There it is. As you can see, we got that whole section loose. So then what we're going to do, we're going to come over here. Now on this particular side here, we really want to be careful, because we're not going to replace any of this inner structure. All we're doing is replacing the core support itself. So what we'll do is we will just use our plasma cutter in areas that are hard to drill through, because we don't want to ruin any of this structure here, and we want to be able to take all this apart like it's supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and use my plasma cutter right here on these spot welds. Then we'll come over on this side as well, repeat the process. So that should be loose right there. And then of course we have these ones right here. And that goes down there, and then all these up here. And we will go ahead and drill those out by hand, and the core support in that apron section should come out of the car.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.